Donald Trump. And let me tell you one other thing. You've seen when the pressure has been on. When the pressure's been on, Donald Trump, like it was Thursday night in those debates, he stood up like a man, he fought back, he fought hard, and that's the way he'll fight for you. And then when the heat was on Senator Rubio in those debates, you saw what happened. He melted. He melted. I had a ringside seat for one of those, didn't I? Right? And Donald Trump did it again the other night when he looked at him and said, I'm the only person on this stage who's ever hired anyone. He's exactly right. We need a president who is going to not only make America great again, but we're going to need a president who's going to make America proud again. Proud to be Americans, proud to be working hard, proud to raise our families in a place that is safe and secure. We need someone who's going to stand up to the people who are fighting against us and the rest of the world. Donald Trump's going to be that man to stand up for America. And so, I'll tell you this, when terrorists attack America in the future, Donald Trump won't apologize for America. He'll stand up for America. I am thrilled, so thrilled to see this packed airport hangar. Now, are you ready to fight for Donald Trump come Tuesday? You ready to show up and vote and give him a win in Arkansas on Tuesday? Well then, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and privilege to introduce to you the next president of the United States of America, Donald Trump.
Wow, thank you, Chris. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Look at this turnout. This is incredible. And there are many people outside that can't get into the hangar. The fire marshal won't let them in. Oh, fire marshal, let me talk to you, please, please. But it's such an honor, and you know, we've had tremendous results here, and I think we're going to do very well here. We're going to do well everywhere. I think the only place we're tied, actually, is Texas. We're tied in Texas, and I think we have a really good chance of winning Texas. People are so tired of these politicians. It's all talk, no action. And I've been watching it. I've dealt with them all my life. I've been watching it all my life. I got a little glimpse of it just now coming in. I watched this lightweight Rubio, total lightweight, and little mouth on him. Bing, 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 bing. And his new attack is he calls me a con artist. I'm a con man, right? You know, I built a great business, and believe me, I wish my father loaned me $200 million or gave me $200 million. I wish he had $200 million in those days. I'll tell you what. I wish my father gave me that money. I borrowed a tiny amount of money, $1 million. I started a business. It's worth much more than $10 billion right now. I filed unbelievable statements with the FEC, federal elections, and the press knows. They fully understand because they went down there. They were like a bunch of ants. They were all over the place. And they were so disappointed to see what a great company it is. Some of the great assets of the world, very little debt, tremendous cash flow, and it says it all. First time I've ever done that because I'm a private company. And believe me, if I didn't have a good statement, I wouldn't have been able to run because I wouldn't have been able to file. And the filing is amazing, and the company's amazing. And the reason I tell you that is because that's the thinking we need. We have $19 trillion in debt. We're going up to $21 trillion as a country. Our country is a mess. We're losing our business. Companies are moving into Mexico. They're moving to China. They're moving to Ireland. Pfizer just announced they're going to move to Ireland. Great company. They're moving to Ireland. They're moving all over the world. They're leaving us. And our numbers, that 5% number you hear, unemployment, total fiction. It's probably 25, could even be 30%. Because when somebody looks for a job and they give up like most people do, they go home, they say, I can't do it anymore, they're considered statistically employed. We have a real problem, folks, and we're going to get it solved, okay? We're going to get it solved. But I will address, little Rubio. This guy has a fresh mouth. He's a very nasty guy. And I actually thought that Ted Cruz was a liar, but Rubio is worse. I mean, he's worse. And I watched, I must tell you, one of the reasons I love having Chris, and Chris called me a couple of days ago and said, you know what you have is a movement. I've never seen anything like it. He said, and he's a pro. He's one of the real endorsements that I wanted. And he called me. I would have called him. I was sort of like getting ready to call him. And out of the blue, Chris called. And he said, I want to endorse you and your campaign. I've never seen anything like it. And many people have never seen anything like it. Peggy Noonan, who's terrific, she writes a fantastic piece today in the Wall Street Journal talking about it. What's happening is amazing. Time magazine a few weeks ago, cover story, the movement that we've created. But just to address, so I was in New Hampshire, which we won, by the way. We, not me, we won. And I saw a meltdown of a human being like I've never seen. It was Rubio. And it was Chris who started. And I'll tell you what, he is one prosecutor, isn't he? In all fairness. But he started, and he looked at Rubio, and they went back and forth, and all of a sudden, and you have to understand, I'm in the Senate. I've been in the Senate for every single debate now, which is nice. Center means good. I told CNN, well, are you going to announce that I'm number one? No. I said, well, nobody's going to know I'm number one unless you announce it. They said, you're in the center. I said, I don't care. Nobody knows that. But they don't want to do that. They should do that, right? But they don't want to do that. They never want to do that stuff. They never want to do anything good. I'm not just talking them. I'm talking about the other ones, too. The media, the most dishonest human beings on earth, I'm telling you. The most. And we're going to, by the way, while I'm on that subject, I am going to do everything I can if I win. They write false stories. They write nasty false stories, and they know they're false. I've had some written more than I've ever seen before in the last period of a few months. They write false stories you can't really sue because the libel laws are essentially non-existent. We're going to open up the libel laws so when they write falsely, we can sue the media and we can get the story corrected and get damages. Right? Believe me. So important. And you know what? It'll be amazing how honest they become. Right now, they can say anything they want to say. Someday, in the not-too-distant future, if I win, they're not going to get away with this stuff that they get away with. And I think we all feel, don't we feel that way? It's terrible. Very, very dishonest people. But I watched Chris go after this lightweight Rubio. I call him lightweight Rubio. I watched it. And I'm sitting here, and he's over here. Somebody on my left, doesn't matter. And he's over here, and I see him starting to sweat. Like I have never seen anything like it. Thank God he has really large ears, the biggest ears I've ever seen. Because they were protecting him. It was going, I have never seen any human being sweat like this guy. And he said the Obama statement once, and that was fine. And then he said it twice, and I'm standing here. I have nothing to do with it because Chris is over here. He's over here, just to my right. He said it a second time. And I said, that's strange. I'm going like this. That's strange. Then he said the same exact words. You know, he memorizes phrases. Like the con man. I saw Brett Baer yesterday say, I never said, he said con man so many times during the interview. Trump's a con man, Trump's a con man. The last thing I am is a con man, folks. I built a great business, okay? I built a great business. And by the way, think of this. Then I do a television show called The Apprentice, and it becomes one of the top shows on television, tremendously successful. And by the way, they wanted to renew me, and I couldn't do it because I was doing this. And Steve Burke, the head of Comcast, great guy, comes into my office. Donald, we want to renew you. I said, Steve, I'm going to run for president. You can't do both, okay? It's called equal time laws or whatever it's called, but you can't. He said, please, please. I said, no, I'm going to do this. And we chose, because I have a big stake in The Apprentice going forward and everything else. And we chose Arnold Schwarzenegger. Let's see how he does, right? Let's see. I hope he does well, but who knows, right? I know Trump did well, 14 seasons. So I had this tremendous show that was one of the most successful shows on television and really one of the most successful. And we came up with the expression, you have fired. And it's been great. And you got to know my kids, Ivanka, Don, Eric, and a lot of other people. And my family I'm so proud of. So we do a show, it's greatly successful. I do books, right? I do The Art of the Deal. One of the most successful, probably the most successful, but one of the most successful business books and books of its kind ever written. And I did many other books, 12 other books, many bestsellers. And then I built this business that is unbelievable. Some of the greatest assets in the world. Turnberry in Scotland, Doral in Miami, buildings all over the place, big chunks of the Bank of America building in San Francisco, built a city practically on the west side of Manhattan, a big chunk of 1290 Avenue of the Americas, biggest floor plates in New York, just about the biggest floor plates. I think they are the biggest floor plates. And just built 40 Wall Street, Trump Tower, so many things. And then I listened to this light little nothing say Trump's a con man. Isn't it a disgrace? I mean, seriously. You know, it really is. Maybe we'll make the libel laws also so we can sue lying politicians, you know, because, but it's, you know, it's very insulting when you hear it. And thank goodness I have this where I can get off and counteract it, because they say things that are so wrong. Now, I don't know what Cruz is saying, but these two guys are in big trouble. They're in big trouble. Yeah, it's almost like who cares, but they're in big trouble. Rubio's 1-0. He couldn't get elected dog catcher in Florida. They hate him in the state of Florida. No, think of it. He's a politician that Chris went over it, never votes, never anything. He couldn't right now, if he ran for office in Florida, he wouldn't get elected to any office. They cannot stand him because Florida's like a second home. They cannot stand the guy, and he abandoned them. Think of it. He runs for Senate. He wins. They give him their confidence. He wins. And before he even runs, he's looking for another position, and he never goes to vote on some of the most important bills. He's never voting. They hate him in Florida. That's why I'm up 22 points. Can you imagine? We have a sitting senator. At least with Cruz, we're even. That's not so great for him either, because he's a sitting senator in Texas. So, but in Florida, we have a sitting senator, and I'm up by a tremendous amount, every poll, because they can't stand the guy. Now, here's the story. He sat and he stood, and I thought he was going down. And I said, man, I think he's choking. I love, it's called human whatever. I love watching whatever happens. I said, I'm about to witness history. This guy's going down. This guy's going down. And I'm looking, and I'm getting ready because I'm, it's like a lot of people. I'm a pretty strong guy. And I'm getting ready to grab him because I thought he was out. And he starts sweating. And honestly, this is true. I've got a problem. I have never seen a human being sweat like he sweats. So Christie is grilling him. So he says it twice. Now he says it a third time. I said, now that's not good, because 3 times the exact same line. Memorize. And then a fourth, and then a fifth. And I'm looking like, wow. But I'm getting ready to grab him, because I'm telling you he's going down. I have never seen, it looked like he jumped in a swimming pool with his clothing on and then came back. Now for the last debate, I go back and I see him with makeup, and it's like he's putting it on with a trowel. Okay? And then he got very aggressive right at the beginning. Now, I knew they were going to do that, both of them. They double-teamed me because, and I got great reviews. Do you know that every single poll, Drudge, Slate, I think Time Magazine, every single poll had me winning that debate, which is amazing. Every single poll. Not all of the pundits had me winning, but every single poll. And many of the pundits, but not all of them. Some of them, no matter what. If I was Abraham Lincoln debating, he was a very good debater, they'd say, it wasn't a great night. A couple of them said, it was not a great night. I thought it was a great night. But, right? But I was double-teamed by these two. But with Rubio, just to finish off with him, so I knew it was going to be one of these nights because everybody was saying, oh, they've got to do it. They have no choice because they're getting killed. We're way ahead. We're way ahead nationally. We're way ahead here and every place. We got to win. We got to win Arkansas. We got to win Arkansas. We got to win. Maybe I'll start shopping permanently at Walmart if we win Arkansas. I'll never go anywhere else. Oh, we got to win Arkansas. I love it. I love the people of Arkansas. I know so many people. They're great people. These are great people. But just remember this. That's right. Thank you. But just remember this. Politicians are never going to get you to the promised land. They're never, ever going to get you to the promised land. And things were said in previous speeches, and probably by Cruz also, but I didn't get to see Cruz, which is just false. So many things I've done so well. For instance, they talk Trump University. It's a small deal, very small. But I got sued by a lawyer who sues. Yeah, they sue because they want to see if they get some money back. I could have settled this suit numerous times, could settle it now. But I don't like settling suits because when you settle lawsuits, everybody sues you. It's a little business story. I have friends, they settle lawsuits, and they can't understand why are they always sued. I don't settle lawsuits. We have people at Trump University that wrote, most of them, that wrote statements. And they wrote the statement where, I love the school, I love this. For some reason, I never saw this before, we call them report cards. They did like report cards, essentially report cards, where at the end of the class, at the end of the period of time, they did study. They did a report card on how you like it. Some even did film clips where they actually are in film saying great things. The person that started the suit wrote a great statement saying it was fantastic and did a film clip saying that it was fantastic. And they've just asked that she be taken out of the case. She doesn't want to be in the case anymore. And the reason they want is because she's a terrible plaintiff, because she said all these great things about Trump University, and she's on film saying how great it is. So they put in a motion, which of course the papers don't write this, they put in a motion saying that take her name is Tarloff or something, take her out of the case. The reason they want her out of the case is she is a horrible, horrible witness. She's got in writing that she loves it. And I could have settled it. And when I saw her documentation, I said, why would I give her money? She loved the case and she's on tape. Why would I give her money? I should have settled it, but I just can't do that. Mentally, I can't do it. I'd rather spend a lot more money and fight. No, you got to. You got to. Hey, it would have been much easier if I settled. It would have probably been cheaper, but I don't care. It would have been much easier. It would have been cheaper. Would have been much easier, but just so you understand. So these people, all it is people put up something, and now they get letters. Oh, can you get your money back? Oh, we'll get our money back. Yeah, let's join. The Attorney General of New York, this is all a civil case, by the way. It's a simple civil case. The Attorney General of New York meets with Barack Obama in Syracuse. The following day, he sues me. What they don't say is I believe $15,000 or a lot of money was paid to the Attorney General by the law firm in California that's suing me. See, I'm giving you sort of a life experience because is this more interesting than talking about trade? Trade is easy for us. Trade is easy, but this is sort of life. This is almost like a story on success because this is the way the world works. This is sort of the way the world works. So the Attorney General gets a campaign contribution from the law firm that's suing me. All of a sudden, the Attorney General, his name is Eric Schneiderman, not respected in New York, doing a terrible job, probably is not electable in New York, but who knows. And he meets with Obama, gets a campaign contribution, I think it's $15,000. And all of a sudden, he meets with Obama in, I believe, Syracuse. And the following day or two, he brings a lawsuit against me. Now, much of that lawsuit has been won by me. He's appealing it. It's on appeal right now. But much of that case, it's a long time already, but much of that case, we won. It's won. I don't mean we settled. We've won much of that case. They missed the statute of limitations, and most of it is going away. But nobody writes that. Nobody wants to write that. The rest of it, we're doing very well. We have a very hostile judge because, to be honest with you, the judge should have thrown the case out on summary judgment. But because it was me and because there's a hostility toward me by the judge, tremendous hostility, beyond belief. I believe he happens to be Spanish, which is fine. He's Hispanic, which is fine. And we haven't asked for recusal, which we may do. But we have a judge who's very hostile. Should have been thrown out, wasn't thrown out. And I say, I'd rather go to court, because when you go to court and you have witnesses get up there and then they have to say, but why did you sign a document saying that you love the school, et cetera, et cetera. Why should you pay money for that? So I just wanted to give you a little bit of the parameters, because you keep hearing about Trump University. So it's a civil case. It's a sleazebag law firm that does these class action cases. They're very routine, and I will win the case in the end. I just didn't want to be forced to settle, and I could have settled it before I did this, and I knew somebody would try and use it for publicity, but I believe I can turn it around just to show you how dishonest these people are, and that's the case. And just to finish, if I didn't have a hostile judge in California, this case would have ended years ago, would have ended a long time ago. Okay, are you ready? So that took place with Rubio. Rubio's going nowhere. I think he's going nowhere. Hasn't won at all. They're fighting. Now what they want to do is they want to take Trump on individually. They're all fighting. I saw this morning. We should get out. This one should get out. That one should get out. Kasich should get out. Who's a nice guy, by the way, even though, but he's a little tougher than you think. He's another one. He's very nice. Oh, that's so terrible. You're fighting. Oh, it's so terrible. It's so terrible. He's always on the end, you know, close to getting out. You know, when you're on those end positions, I won't mention what I told other people, but when you're in the end position, that means you're close to, it's close to over. But every time these two guys were hitting me, he looks like, oh, that's so terrible that you guys are fighting. You know, this, we should have peace. That's all good, but the worst ads that were taken against me were taken by Kasich. And, you know, like, he's such a nice guy, and he is, he's fine. But I'm in New Hampshire, which we won. By the way, we won New Hampshire. We won Nevada. We won Nevada. We won South Carolina. It was so beautiful. And I'm watching them. I actually tweeted today, we won South Carolina. We won South Carolina. What a great memory. And now I'm watching Bernie and Hillary fighting in South Carolina, and I have the victory on the Republican side. And you know what I saw, which was amazing? We had the largest turnout in the history of South Carolina. I won by tremendous numbers, right? Landslide, right? Landslide. Beyond. And don't forget, that was supposed to be 100% Ted Cruz. That was going to be his. You couldn't beat him there. Impossible to beat him there. Not only did I beat him, we killed him by, what was it, like 20 points? Some unbelievable amount. I won with every single category. I won with women, with men, with evangelicals, with military, with the vets. We won with rich, we won with less than rich, we won with highly educated, we won with pretty good education, and we won with people that didn't do so much with the education, but they're doing well anyway. I love them, okay? I love them. I love them. They're my people. They're my people. But we won with virtually every category. And then we go to Nevada and we win. I mean, that was a blowout. We just won with everything. And I felt it. Because that was a caucus. I was a little worried with the caucus stuff, because caucuses can get a little dishonest. Can I say that word? Dishonest? And I went to one caucus, which is the biggest one in Las Vegas. And I'll tell you, there was such love. They went crazy. And there were probably 2,000 people in the room. And of the 2,000 people, 100 people maybe, I don't even think that, were possibly going to vote for somebody else. Everybody was on our side. And I said, this is a good sign. I got back to the room. It was long before 7 o'clock, when the polls actually closed over there at 7 o'clock. And they were already saying, this thing's over. Because they've all over the state, it was the same way. And we ended up getting a tremendous victory by, it wasn't even a contest. So, again, with evangelicals, with military, with everybody. So it's been like a great, great experience. And part of it is anger. And part of it is you're tired of the politicians. You're tired of guys. You're tired. You know what? I'm tired, and you're tired of guys like Little Rubio, who, you know, little mouthpiece, goes like a mile a minute. You were tired of these people. They're never going to get anything done. They're never going to get. Hey, by the way, Rubio bought a house for $178,000. He sold the house for $380,000. Probably the only good deal he ever made. To a lobbyist who I think was in front of them, or close to in front of them, up in the Senate, this was in Florida, wanting something approved. Now that's really dishonest. Rubio stole from the Republican Party. But you know what happened? They said, you stole from the party. He says, no, I didn't. Yes, you did. You had a driveway built. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. Oh, okay. Well, he reimbursed them. Okay? And for some reason, he didn't get indicted. And why doesn't he get indicted? I'll guarantee you one thing, Chris Christie would have indicted him so fast. But why doesn't somebody look into his house deal? Why isn't, how can he make that kind of a profit on a house to a lobbyist? And that's the problem. People are controlled up here by lobbyists. You know that, right? We have the lobbyists and the special interests that have total control over these folks, but not Ben, because Ben is not controlled by them. Although, I don't know, is he getting money from? I don't even care. Ben's such a nice guy. And by the way, what Ted Cruz did to Ben Carson was a disgrace in Iowa. That was a disgrace. He said Ben Carson has left the race because he went to Florida. He was heading out to Florida, which is where he lives, in all fairness. Ben Carson has left the race and vote for us. And at caucus, you know, you can actually take the people and walk around. I don't like caucus. I like where you walk in to a voting booth, you walk, you vote, and you leave, like what you people are going to do, okay? I don't like this caucus stuff. But they said Ben Carson has left the race. Vote for us. And they wine him and dine him and bring him around. I'll bet you thousands of votes. And I would have won Iowa, in my opinion, if that happened. Because these extra votes went to him. And you know what, honestly, if we had a strong Republican Party, they would disqualify him for what he did. Honestly, I mean, if I were the head of the Republican Party, I wouldn't throw him out. You know, maybe for Canada we'll throw him out. We'll see about that. But because that's a serious problem. You know, he's being sued. And I didn't sue him. I'm so non-litigious, it's amazing. But he's being sued now. I heard he's being sued because he was born in Canada, lived there 4 years. Who knows? I always thought you had to be born here, like on this soil right here in Arkansas. So we'll find out what happens. Hey, I hope that's not the reason he has to get out. I hope we beat them. But you know what? Ted has that problem. But if I were the head of the Republican Party, I would disqualify his Iowa situation. He also did another thing. Did you ever see that? Voter violation. Did you ever see this? It's like a fraudulent document. Looks like it came out of a government agency, so professional. It says voter violation. And it talks about you're in violation of all these things. Listen to this. Essentially, this isn't exact, but close enough. But if you vote for Ted Cruz and bring this in and vote for Ted Cruz, the violation's canceled. Now, you have people that honestly sort of believe it. I looked at one of them and I said, man, that comes right out of a government agency. That's a fraud. And I saw lawyers talking about it on some of these crazy talk shows, and they said it's a fraud. I mean, it's like a fraud. I would have disqualified him from his victory in Iowa because you can't do business like that. You just can't do it. You can't do it. Then you take everybody, move them up a notch. Now I won 4 in a row instead of 3. I like that. And it doesn't matter. I got almost the same number of delegates. I got 1 less, but it doesn't matter. But you can't do that stuff. You can't do that stuff. And frankly, but Cruz is smarter than Rubio. Intellectually, he's smarter than Rubio. But both, they lie. You know, I deal in the real estate business. I deal in a lot of different business. I meet some bad people. I meet much tougher people than a Rubio or a Cruz. Much tougher. But I've never met people that could lie like these guys. These guys are world-class liars. It's unbelievable. And I was helped in Cruz's case because Rubio looked at him and said, you're a liar. And he was actually right, because he actually did lie about that particular point. But once he said he was a liar, I was able to say he's a liar. You know, I've never seen politicians. I know politicians very well. I've dealt with them all my life. A lot of them are bad people. You have some good ones, but you have a lot of really seedy, horrible people. I've never, and I've seen some bad stuff, I've never seen a politician call another politician a liar. When he called him a liar, I said, great, now I can call him a liar, because there was so much lying. But Rubio is probably a worse liar than Cruz. I don't know who to pick. I'll pick at the end of 3 or 4 weeks, I'll give you my pick. Does that sound okay? So we have an amazing story. I have decided that with my life, if I win, I'm going to do something that's going to be so amazing for our country. We're going to have great trade deals. We have the worst trade deals ever made in history. We have trade deals that are so bad. We have deals, period, that are so bad. The Iran deal, we give $150 billion to Iran. They're now spending that money. It's one of the worst deals. Forget about country to country. One of the dumbest deals I've ever seen. But all of our deals are like that. That's a horror deal. That deal, those hostages should have been back 4 years ago. They should have been back before you started the negotiation. They go in, this guy Kerry, they go in. It's horrible. They go in and you say, we have to have our hostages back. And they'll say no. The Persians, great negotiators. Persians, always been great negotiators. They'll say no. And you'll say, bye-bye, we're leaving, bye, enjoy yourself. Now they're sitting at a table, nobody on the other side of the table. And you let them know, we're not going to negotiate until the hostages are released. And then you double up on the sanctions. You just go ratchet, ratchet, ratchet. Within 24 hours, you'll be called. You got your hostages back, folks. Then I go a step further, and I tell the story about my father, because my father did not give me $200 million. Believe me. Oh, I told you, my sister, she calls. And I have a great sister, a great brother. They both called that night after the debate. Dad, never give, are you kidding? Where's our piece of it, you know? It's unbelievable. Took $1 million, borrowed it, paid it back, and that's now morphed into 200. Part of the reason, in all fairness to Rubio, he read that in the New York Times. It was such a false piece. The New York Times, it's going out of business. It's the worst newspaper. It is a dead newspaper. Going out of business, I'll tell you what, unless somebody buys it like me as a vanity project, all right? It loses a fortune, but they are the most dishonest people at the New York Times. They wrote a story about me a few days ago. It was so wrong, they knew it was wrong. I said, then pull the story. No, we won't, David. Why wouldn't you pull it? If you know the story's wrong, why won't you pull it? And they admitted it's wrong. We won't pull it. They are really dishonest. New York Times, I call it the failing New York Times. You know, it's very interesting. They bought the Boston Globe. They paid $1.3 billion for the Boston Globe, right? $1.3 billion. They spent a fortune, hundreds of millions of dollars on modernizing it, right? At the end of a number of years, they just sold it for essentially $1. They lost $1.5 billion. They have no money.
I'll find it.
They sell their headquarters, this beautiful, like the cathedral. I used to go there when they had real people running the thing.
We are listening into Donald Trump in his speech in Bentonville, Arkansas, that started a short time ago. As you can see also on our screen, Hillary Clinton is in Alabama.